and welcome to Juneteenth 196 2020 Special Edition. B-HBrilliant Minds Project Inc. is honored to bring to you invited guests that will be telling their personal life stories from past to present. B-HBrilliant Minds understands the importance of leaving a legacy that will carry on after we're gone. We know that it is our responsibility to keep our stories alive, creating opportunities for our voices of our communities to be heard and seen. The Juneteenth 196 2020 Special Edition will capture the essence of why we are celebrating and honoring Juneteenth. The back and shoulders of our ancestors is who we stand on their faith, resilience, strength, blood, sweat, and tears are the building blocks for the generation to come, blowing into the winds on creation as we create and prepare brilliant minds of the future towards excellence. So this evening we have Mr. Frank Clayton. Good evening, Frank Clayton, and introduce yourself.
Hey, good evening, Ms. B. How are you?
I'm doing fine.
Pleasure to be here. I'm Frank Clayton Jr., performance coach, author, speaker, and just all-around community engagement guide. And it's just a pleasure and honor to be here to be able to share the space and time with you. So I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you. So we'll get started. And my question to you would be, you already told us about yourself. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing, your family, and your passion.
So my upbringing, raised in Oakland, born in Long Beach, California, but raised in Oakland. Been out here since the age of 3. And yeah, man, you know, product of the community, product of Oakland, graduated Oakland Technical High School, all the way through, lived here pretty much my whole life, stayed in other places for a little while. But, you know, Oakland is home. Oakland is what I know. So, you know, I appreciate the city, have, you know, all the love for it that most people have. And as far as my upbringing, you know, family, big family, raised in a very loving and comforting environment, had our usual Oakland challenges, but now, family man now, married, 3 kids, enjoying life.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's the best job I've ever had. And so, you know, just looking to continue to build and figure out ways to leave an impact while I'm still here, and transfer that impact into my community and my kids.
Right on. And you know, I met you through my daughter. Tell us a little bit about the relationship you and her had years ago, and you hired her to help you with one of the events that you were putting on.
Yeah. I actually met your daughter when I was teaching over at YMCA. Shout out to Adrian Henderson, gave me my first shot to actually do some community work in a program called Choices. Was really to teach high school age students how to prepare for job interviews, for college interviews, things like that, giving them tools and techniques to be able to be present themselves in a way that best reflected who they were in those situations. So it was a lot of fun. Was able to connect with her and hopefully teach her some stuff that she then took on with her. And so that was long time ago.
Yes. Well, you know, you should be proud of her because she went on after working with you. She went to Tougaloo College and got her BA. So it's all good. You know, you was a part of that footprint. And that's the reason why we're actually having this conversation, is because we wanted to make sure that we uphold and honor folks like you know, people like you that's doing the work in our actual communities, and that our ancestors will be proud of. because the work that we were standing on their shoulders, and, you know, the work that you're doing, I know they're like, yes, this is what we died for, you know. So as I said, their blood, sweat, and tears. If we don't do the work for them and what they started, we do them a disservice, and we do our culture and we do our race a disservice. So I do know that you have created a book. Tell us a little bit about that.
So the book was always it was a labor of love. I've always enjoyed writing, but it was really one of those. I'm a trainer and a coach and all of that stuff. So I always try to look for ways to incorporate everything that I do, right? To have some type of synergy, some type of symbiotic movement between the different hats that I wear. And I just really realized that for me, in my house, when I work out, my kids watch and they work out. And just thinking about, but also when I read and my kids watch, they read. So they watch everything that we do. So the book is really, it's called My First Workout, and it was really a tool. I looked at it as a tool for three different reasons. One was literacy, getting young people interested in reading something that they.
And we hear them in the background.
Right, yeah,
but it's family. We at home. So go ahead. You a dad.
We in COVID. I mean, you know, can't go too many places. But, you know, they were able to, you know, they saw me reading, but they also saw me working out. And so I thought really about how can you bring all of those things together. So My First Workout is really an interactive book where you actually read and work out with your children. So it actually kind of does three different things in one, right? You're promoting literacy with your child, you're promoting health and fitness with your child, but you're also promoting time together, where you are actually doing something together, spending some quality time. And so I'm really excited. I'm proud that it's done more than anything, whether it, you know, is a New York bestseller or whatever. I'm really not too worried about that. I want to give it in as many hands as possible, absolutely, because I believe it's a great tool to have and use. But I'm just happy it's done, and my kids love it. They're excited. They're characters in the book. So it was just really fun to do.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about your passion. What do you love to do? I know there's a lot of things you do and love to do, but share some of it with us.
Probably the number one thing that I really, really love to do is learn, add to my tool belt, which is probably why I tend to do so many different things. But apart from that, I love to coach. I love to take or help someone get from one space to another. And so that's really a passion of mine. I've enjoyed coaching in different arenas, from Oakland Strokes, national championship rowing team, to coaching the young people, help them get jobs, things like that, coaching clients. And now, like I said, coaching my kids is one of the best things I can do. But I really enjoy coaching. I really enjoy learning. I really enjoy, you know, helping people live. My goal, one of my end goals, is to always figure out a way to help people live their best life possible. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what I feel like I want to do with my life. Figure out ways to help people improve the quality of their life so that they can live the best life possible.
That's awesome. And, you know, as a dad, as a young man, I want to commend you for taking the step to marry early, you know, and have your children with your wife. So my hat goes off to you, a king doing his thing with his queen. And you as a young man took on that role. You know, that's huge, because a lot of people at your age like, marriage, what? So how is the married life? You know, how is that, making that transition from as a young man to having a wife and children?
I'll just say this, man. There's all kind of books on it. Yeah, right? You can read all the books, but there is nothing like being tied to another person. All the things that come along with it. If you are not married and you are thinking about getting married, I suggest you talk to some happily married people.
Oh,
Don't talk to the disgruntled married people, because they gonna send you running for the hills. But the happily married people, they're gonna tell you the real. They're gonna tell you it's not a fairy tale. They're gonna tell you all the things that'll come along with it. And your story may not be exactly the same, but there are themes and rhythms to marriage that I don't think people really understand. Like, especially my generation, in my family probably know 3 married couples, so, and I mean like long-term married. Just, it wasn't always, it wasn't the most common thing, I'll say. It wasn't the most common, but the married folks that I did know were able to, shine light on to what the journey is about. And that's really, really is. You're in your life, you're journeying with someone. And that journey looks different, and you change, they change, and all of those things. So you learn more about yourself in a relationship than you ever would being single. It's easy to be single. Knowing what I know now, it's very easy to be single, because you deal with you, and that's not the hardest thing. But when you have to actually deal with you, because it's in the context of someone else's life, much different battle.
That's awesome. Well, as a young Black man, I know that your faith plays a huge role in your life. Tell me about your faith and how you lean on your faith in situations and the things that you're doing in your life.
Faith is everything for me. Trusting in God, believing that, there's a purpose, a plan, and all of that. But, really using God as the foundation, right? The word is the foundation, can set the tone for so many different things. And that is the most important thing, right? It says, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. So really focusing on God before focusing on anything else. All these other things will be added. Just making sure that my soul is right, that my mind is right. And if I, continue to do that, I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imaginations. But when I do get off kilter, I'm so happy I have a powerful pastor in Pastor Darnell Hammock from New Life Community Church, and my beautiful church family, my wife's a praying wife, to help me stay focused, right? Because we are human. We are having a human experience, spiritual beings having a human experience. We all, we sometimes get thrown in the wind, but having that foundation of faith is what allows me, when the times are tough, to really go back home and then, really stand on what I believe in. So faith is huge. Faith is huge in everything that I do. Absolutely.
When you hear the word resilient, what do you think of? What comes to your mind?
It's funny because I used to think it meant something different.
All right. Share with us.
Right. So resiliency when I was younger used to mean, not being phased, being able to take a hit without flinching, and keep going. Right. That's what resiliency used to mean. And it's very easy, when you're younger to, and you're taught not to express the full range of how you're feeling. It's very easy to get caught up in, when something negative happens, to just turn into a positive really quickly. But now I know much, much better than that, actually. So resiliency for me now really means being able to be fully aware of everything that's going on, how you're feeling, but still have the mindset to know that you are capable, more than fully willing and capable, to turn around any situation. You don't have to try to not feel it. You don't have to try to block it. You just have to know that no matter what it feels like, one, it's working together for your good, and two, you have the ability to turn it around. So that's really what resiliency means for me now.
Hey, All right now. Look, we got something new going on. That's what we talking about. And you know, as we were just saying about being resilient, and my next word for you would be honesty. How does that play in your life? Honesty, being honest.
So first, being honest with myself, and it's funny because it's really about accuracy. Right?
All right.
I'm really learning more. Like I said, I love to learn. I'm in a great class. Shout out to 510 Media, who puts on a great class called Hope. I would suggest people look them up if you're an entrepreneur. Definitely a powerful class for entrepreneurs. Doing something really, really unprecedented in the Black community around entrepreneurialism. And I love the class. So I'm really focused on accuracy right now in my life. Having accurate thinking, learning how to think accurately. We think in so many, we are so automatic with our thinking. We have so many, we are so irrational. We're rational creatures, making so many decisions just on autopilot. So really being present, really being aware, learning myself, and all of those things, and doing my best to think accurately. And that's really what it is for me when you say honesty. I really want to be able to think accurately in this present time. Definitely, telling truth and things like that. But I really want to be focused on, like I said, being present and making decisions from data, and making decisions from the most present mind possible.
Right. Well, my next question to you, I know you're raising you have 3 boys or 2?
I have 2 boys and
2 boys and 1 daughter. 2 boys and 1 daughter, right? Now, in these times, dealing with what we see that's happening with all the violence that's happening in the actual street, you as a young Black man, how are you feeling every day that you walk out of your doors, or how do you empower another young man, or what can you say to folks in this world about you being a young Black man? Oh, look at that. See, boy, that's time.
Right on cue.
Right on cue. Now you can't tell me, see, that was divine time, divine order. Go ahead.
It's interesting because, right, this is part of that, like I said, like accurate thinking.
Yes.
Because I can be very scared. I can run with the whole narrative of like they're shooting us down in the street, and allow that to perpetuate my thought process and my patterns and things like that. But that's not where I really am. I really am focused on, raising them to be the best people that they can possibly be, and how to navigate a world that might see them differently, or they may fall into a situation where they're dealing with someone who's not fully capable of recognizing their humanity. So really focusing on helping them navigate this world, as opposed to raising them and reverberating that story that tells them the world doesn't love them, the world doesn't feel, doesn't have value.
You say daddy.
Thanks, bud. I like it. So that's really, Aiden, that's really the focus for me right now, is to really raise them to be thinkers. Yeah. Right, to be thinkers as much as possible. Everything else will take care of themselves. Yeah, that's how I would answer that question.
That's right. Well, that's awesome. And as you said, a praying wife, and most important, you got your wife and your church family and folks praying for you all. So that's awesome. And you're in an actual community. You're with folks that understand, and they'll help. We're helping us and helping each other through this COVID-19. So how are you, what are you doing for self-care during COVID-19?
It's funny that you said that. Like, that's so important. I've been, talking presenting in other places, you know, how to stay healthy during this pandemic, things like that. Hold on real quick. I'm going to close this door.
Sure.
Just to make sure.
Well, we got family going on, so you know, we all know that
this is
we're
real life.
inside.
It's real life.
Real life. There we go.
But presenting in different platforms and talking about how to stay healthy, how to stay present, how to stay mindful during this COVID-19 experience. And it's funny, people get on and they say, how do you manage in these unprecedented times? And when it's like, but you know, that's part of that, me trying to better myself and really focus on accurate thinking as much as possible. Because truth be told, all times are unprecedented, and all times, no, the future is not predictable. So this time is no different than any other time. But it's very easy to tell ourselves that story, that this time is way more chaotic than any other time, and that's just not true. And so really just focusing on, you know, doing some of the stuff that I really like. It's been a blessing because I've been able, you know, I was always on the go. I spent plenty of time with my kids. They would be with me a lot of times. But right now, I'm able to spend a lot more time with them. So that's part of my self-care. I still work out. I still make sure I take time to try to get to myself. I am an ambivert. So I need some time to recharge and then some time to be around people. Yeah, I've just been really being mindful of how I'm feeling, checking in. I can feel my energy is low. And for people who don't have that outlet, I would just say, you know, do things like journal, or just try to carve out some time to take care of yourself. COVID is not a disease that is extremely powerful. The trouble, or this is personal opinion, not a medical, not a
right,
not a medical opinion,
right.
but an observation that COVID is very contagious. Yes. What COVID is doing is exposing the American lifestyle. It is exposing how unhealthy we are, right? Because most of the people, 2/3 or more, I want to say more than that. I don't know the exact numbers, but most have, that account for the deaths anyway, had 2 or 3 how do you say it? Morbidities. So they were sick. They had other disease,
underlying issues and health issues.
Conditions that are contributing to their death besides COVID. COVID just kind of accelerated it. And so what it is exposing how unhealthy we already were as a society. So right now is a more important time than any. We have extra time. If you're staying home and you're not an essential worker, right? Because time affords a vacuum. And so if you're at home, there was a time when you were driving to work. There was a time when you were driving home. There was a time when you went to lunch. So there should be ideally no time, or you should be ideally able to repurpose some of that time to take care of yourself. And is really, really essential. We probably spend far less time taking care of ourselves than we should be.
Right. And you know, that's very important, what you were saying about the actual time that we used to have, like driving and doing these other different things. And that time is precious and we don't get it back. So now that we can regroup, rethink of how we move forward now, when we come back out, is going to be very important. And the things that we do and the things that we don't waste our time. Yeah. You know, it's always told that the devil's workshop is idle time is the devil's workshop. Yeah. So, but putting your thoughts together, making goals for yourself, making a plan for what you're getting ready to do for the next year. Start off with the 6 months or 4 months, 4, 5, 6 on down. And you now have that time to be able to write this information down, what you want to do, and learn more about you.
Yeah. I think
tuning into you.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. Tuning into you, learning about you. This is a great time where this is a great time for teletherapy.
Yeah.
Right.
Now tell us a little bit about that.
So teletherapy, like ethically, teletherapy was kind of new with all the concerns, right? You want to be as private as you can with therapy and things like that. From a consultant, from a practitioner perspective. But these times have allowed ethics to change, which ethics always do. So teletherapy is more readily available. It's looked at as more ethically sound than it has been. So it's more accessible in ways to many people. It's funny you mentioned goals and all of these things, and it's we are used to setting goals. We are used to all these things. But the thing about goals is people, I'm a coach, so people come to me, I want to lose weight, I want to do this, I want to, and we always have to get down to the nitty gritty, right? What does 10 pounds mean? I want to lose 10 pounds. You come to me, you tell me, I want to lose 10 pounds. Well, what does that mean? You want to lose 10 pounds? Why do you want to lose 10 pounds? What does that 10 pounds mean to you? Well, I just, I want this gone, I want that gone. So what that being gone, what does that mean for you? How would you feel? What it gets down to is how we feel about us, right? You really telling me you want to be more confident. You want to, you want to feel more, you want to feel more secure. You want to feel all of these things that 10 pound represents. So really getting down into why we do what we do. Like I said earlier, right? We do so much stuff on autopilot. It's hard to really know why we do a lot of stuff. And so that goal setting piece was really interesting, just a personal journey for me. I have a lot of goals. I've always been ambitious, always wanting to do stuff. And it always felt like certain things I just wouldn't pull the trigger on, wouldn't move forward on until I really had an opportunity to kind of speak it out and talk it out with someone. And recognize some patterns and some things I had because of some stories I was telling myself based on, past experiences that I had to really get clear and get honest about. And then once I, learned that, became aware and conscious of it, it was a lot easier to move forward, to rewrite that story with truth.
All right now. Yes.
And then move forward in that. So I encourage people now to take advantage of counseling, get a coach, get someone who will challenge you and allow you to see yourself in a way that you may not have looked at yourself. People talk about why and purpose, right? You hear that a lot, right? You got to find your why. You got to find your purpose, right? And that is true. But your why and your purpose has no impact if your why not is bigger.
All right now. Go ahead on, Frank. Come on here now. Go ahead. Coach.
You have a huge why not, then your why and your purpose can't override that. And you got to figure out what that why not is. Why do I get excited about reaching my goals and right before I get there, I stop or I self-sabotage or I, figure out why I don't like this person or that person and I don't hit that mark. There's a why not back there. And a lot of times our self-talk is trash. We are trashing ourselves and don't even know we're trashing ourselves. And so digging up and figuring out what that is, where that experience happened, where that self-talk started, which is not here, it's not conscious, right? You got to go deep and figure out where that story started. And for me, it was great. Shout out to my guy, Steve Bacon, who does great. He does breakthrough sessions. We had a breakthrough session. I went to his house just to help him film some stuff, be a guinea pig. He had me crying in front of his girlfriend in his living room, and I'll never forgive him for that. But I love him. It was one of the most powerful experiences of my life, and I really appreciate him. But it was a great eye-opening experience for me. So that's why I encourage people to, seek someone who does this. And that's what I look forward to doing with people now that I coach, really get down to the nitty-gritty so that we can move past this stuff and live the greatness that we're supposed to be living.
That's right. Well, I like what you said, rewrite the story. And that's what this is about. We are rewriting our story, our past, our present, the whole nine. How do you look at yourself in a total different manner and be the best you? So my other question would be, the profession that you're in now, did you choose it or did it choose you? Or was it?
Interesting. So I've always been into sports. I've always loved sports. I always had coaches, things like that, and enjoyed the team atmosphere. My current career is interesting because I worked at a gym for a while I was in college. And I, worked my way up to becoming a membership rep, which is probably, they probably make, besides management, they make pretty good money, probably next level money, or the next tier down. So I was enjoying, the money aspect of it in a gym. But then I saw the trainers kind of like, I'll see y'all later. I'll be back. Come back, work, leave again. They had this fluidity to their day and this freedom it seemed like they had to their day. And I was like, I kind of like that a little more. I kind of like the fluidity of their day a little more. And so I was working as a membership rep, and I don't know if you ever worked in sales, but there's the thing called close of the month, where you're there for 12 plus hours. You're trying to make the company as much money as you can, selling them. Right. You can. And it's like, you can't take those days off. You can't go home early unless you're just killing it, crushing it. And even then, they kind of like, you could be doing more. So it got that kind of feel. I didn't feel like I was in control. I wanted a little more autonomy to my life. So I became a trainer. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made. The money is great. It's a lot of fun. I get to help people. So I get to do all the things that I enjoy. I get to continuously learn. I get to do all the things I enjoy as a coach, as a trainer, as a speaker, and all of those things. So I really enjoy it. So I don't know if it chose me, if I chose it, a little bit of both.
That's right on. So what did you go to school for? What college did you go to?
So yeah, that's a whole different story.
Oh, okay.
So actually, I went to Laney for a while.
Okay. My school.
Right. Shout out to Laney. I went to Laney for a couple of years. It's funny. I was supposed to take the SAT in high school, and a buddy of mine and I walked in, and we turned around and walked right back out. It was like, there's no point in us taking the SAT. Neither one of us is paying for school. We're probably going to Laney anyway. So I'm not proud of that, but it's funny. It's true. We turned around, went to Laney for a couple of years, moved to Atlanta with the intention of going to Clark, Atlanta. That didn't work out too well. Came back home, went to Chabot, and was really blessed to find a community and home at Chabot. Played football. It's funny, I always promised myself I would play college football. And I went to Laney, didn't play. I was working. I was trying to survive. Didn't really have the opportunity, or didn't take the opportunity to play. It was more about, making money and living at the time. And I went and I went to an Oakland Tech football game, and Marshawn Lynch was a freshman or a sophomore or something like that. And he was it was a beautiful thing to watch, right? It was a beautiful thing to watch. I had chills, right? So I was like, all right, I would never forgive myself unless I go back and play college football. And so I enrolled in Chabot, played college football 2 years, transferred to Iowa Wesleyan University, way out in little town called Mount Pleasant, Iowa. Was able to play. One thing our coach always told us is if you really are serious, there's somewhere for you to play and continue your education. So I was the college was able to recruit me there, went out there, graduated, communications and emphasis in journalism. Got my bachelor's degree, came back home, and that's when I started doing some of the work with you all at the YMCA. And recently, about a year and a half ago, received a master's degree in performance psychology.
Hey, right on, yes. You go ahead on, Frank. A master's in what did you say?
Performance psychology.
Performance psychology. You go ahead.
I appreciate it. Yes. So
man, you make me proud. You make me proud. Yes, that is awesome. And did you start the nonprofit, or did you start it? It was, what was the name of the organization that you had started? Akili.
Oh, so yeah,
tell us a little bit about that.
That's an interesting story too. So, well, I don't know how interesting it is, as opposed. So it's
your story. So yeah, it's good.
Your story. It's true. Originally, the idea I had was I felt like speaking is something I really enjoy. And there's always this link between language communication, being able to express yourself, and jail, right? Well, if you read at a certain grade level, there's a more likeliness or likelihood that you will end up in jail. At least that's what some say. So the ability to express yourself, to say how you feel, to express who you are to other people was something I really wanted to be able to help young brothers with. So I created a program called the MenTouring Project. And so it was really a play on words, MenTouring, where the idea was to bring local professionals and those we deem successful in their field out to present their stories to middle school age kids, right? Because to me, that's kind of that X generation. That's where you can go either way, right? Elementary, you're sweet, you're cute. High school, you kind of taking the track that you're going to be, but that middle school is kind of where you start to develop that identity, where you're protecting yourself. You're no longer as innocent as you were. So middle school age was really what we were focused on, and it was really about men telling their stories so that they could have someone else to look up to, something that looked attainable, that was tangible, that they can reach out and talk to and ask questions to, and they didn't have to aspire to be an athlete, didn't have to aspire to be all of these folks that seem unattainable or untouchable or so far off in the distance. This is a man who who lives his life this way, and you can live your life that way too. He's going to help you and show you the steps that he took. This is what it looked like. And we actually used to do what we call mind mapping. So from the point of 8th grade, if this is what you say you want to do, these are the actual steps that you can take. Not that there won't be bumps in the road, but you now have a roadmap to get exactly where you want to go, at least to start the process. And so Mentoring Project was what it originally was, and we have changed the name since then to the Kijiji Experience.
Kijiji, okay.
Yeah,
Experience. Yes.
Village in Swahili.
Say that again.
Kijiji,
what did it stand for?
Village in Swahili. And so the Kijiji Experience is really the village experience. So now we're bringing the village to the young folks, and what we do is we convene different events and things of that nature to kind of inspire community action.
I love that. That's what we need. And so the other question that I have for you, you talked about your family. How many siblings do you have?
So I have it's interesting. At least to me, it's funny because I have these things like, oh yeah, I didn't know that or think that before.
Okay.
So when I grew up, I had one sister, really three. I had two stepsisters, and then my blood sister. But I learned recently, about 5 years ago, that I have a another sister out in Louisiana on my dad's side who I've never met,
Wow.
who I've had the opportunity to talk to and build a relationship with now. And so, yeah, I only had, growing up, I was almost like I was a single child because my sister, my oldest blood sister, we're 7 years and 11 months apart.
Wow.
And your kids, that's like, might as well be 30 years apart.
She doesn't know anything about what I'm going through or understand anything.
Right. And she has nothing, wants nothing to do with me.
Right.
It's all about her friends and things like that. But she also we had an aunt her age. So she was really close and they were like sisters. So she would spend a lot of time at our grandparents' house with our aunt who was her age. So it was almost like I was a single child growing up. And so, yeah.
So would that also play into why you have 3 boys? What's the age, the 2 boys and then your daughter? That was significant for them to be like close in age to each other, for they can, what was your thoughts about that? Or it just happened? Look.
Telling you, look, his ears must be ringing. He right on time every time.
Oh, he sure is. Every time we talk about him, he come flying in.
And so, so my daughter is 9.
Yes.
And then the next is 5. My oldest son, Asher, or it's 4, sorry, he will be 5 next month. And then Aiden, who you can see in the background hiding under the covers, he is 3.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Who was that?
That was
Tell him to come back in.
DR, she said, say hi.
Hello.
Say hi, Miss B. She can't see you.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you, sweetheart? And Aiden said, look, don't forget me.
Aiden, say hi.
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 Hi, Miss B.
And so the beauty of it is, right, DR is strong, independent. She's, it's funny how depending on where you are stacked in the deck, how it molds your personality experience and things like that. So she's definitely the leader, and she's independent and all of those things. And Asher is, he's our little intellectual. He's 4. He's kind of a little more reserved. And then you have this guy who's a little, who's like, I'm here, I'm the baby, you have to see me, recognize me, and all of those things. So it's interesting, but it's a beauty to have them so close. Our boys are 18 months apart. So they are best of friends. They enjoy company. It's like it's like having pets, man. Like, why would you just get one when you can have 2 that can entertain each other? I don't always have to be the show. Close the door, baby.
Hi.
So I don't always have to be the show. I don't always have to entertain. Here's Asher. Asher, come here.
Say hi, Asher. So everybody in there now. Hi, big boy.
Say hi,
how are you?
Hi, Miss B.
How you doing, baby?
How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. I see you having a good time with your little brother and your big sister.
Okay, go play, bro. See, I promised they was gonna find me eventually.
Yeah. Well, we're winding down, so it's like daddy's time now. It's my time, and definitely that's a beautiful thing. When your kids want to be around you.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
That's a good
we have
thing.
a lot of fun. We try to create as comfortable and as energizing of a atmosphere, especially now. It's so important to pay attention to them. They don't really know all the going on. Their little brains are answering questions that they don't even know they have, or they don't even know that they're asking. So we try to create as much as comfortable. Not we don't let them run amok. Right. But it's important to create a safe environment for them, especially when they're not able to get out as much as they used to.
Right. Well, my last question for you is, you kind of touched on some of it a little earlier, but it's, what would you like to create or leave as your legacy to the world?
That's interesting. So I'm really working on, these little ones is the legacy I would love to leave them. If they go off and be great people, that would be number one for me. That's my number one goal, is to make them great people, beyond anything else. But right now I'm working on an academy, right?
Oh.
A little sing, an academy, and it's really a performance academy for athletes. And to be able to build this out and to expand it in a couple of different ways. I can't talk about all the ways.
Yes.
Yet,
No, we don't want to give all the secrets away. I understand.
Yeah, definitely for different levels, and definitely at some point really recognizing that we're underperforming as a people. We are. And to be able to build out an academy that helps us identify some of the ways that we're underperforming, give us some tools to help us perform better in not just athletics, but business, community, family, all of these things. Again, I want to be a coach and help people, live the best life possible. And so this is the start. Right now I work with a lot of rowers, a lot of athletes in general. We're really focused on rowing, getting more people of color into rowing, helping athletes who are participating in rowing learn some techniques and tools so that they perform at the highest level possible.
Awesome. Well, B.H. Brilliant Minds Project Inc. is definitely inviting everybody to continue to celebrate Juneteenth 196. This is our 2020 special edition. How we came up with Juneteenth 196 is this. If you count from June 19th all the way to December the 31st, it's 196 days. So that's how we came up with Juneteenth 196. And we are so grateful and thankful that you were a part of this actual series. And with that, we are standing on what we say is, we are the breath of our ancestors. We would never break, because we are history shakers and makers. And this is in honor of acknowledging that Black culture, Black minds, Black breath, and Black lives matter. And we are saying it loud because we're Black and we are proud of that. And we definitely want to give a special shout out to our sponsor, and that's Win-Rose Fund of Common Council Foundation. You can check out this actual series on our website, www.B-HBrilliantMindsProjectInc.org. Let me re-say that. B-HBrilliantMinds.org. I get it kind of mixed up, but it's all good. And Frank, I want to say thank you to you and your family, and the Mrs. Thank you all for allowing us to come into your home. And we're grateful to be able to do that. To me, that's special. And the kids came in right on time. And I just want to say good night to you. Once again, B.H. Brilliant Minds Project Inc. is honored to have you as a friend and as a family. So God bless you and good night.
Thank you. I appreciate it.